Welcome members of Zion Reformed Church and friends of our congregation. Well, we have a guest here at the Zion Reformed Church studio, and this is Ann Lapkus. She is one of our members. Now, she got a very important title, which I cannot pronounce even, but actually she is just a teacher for other teachers. So Anne, welcome here today. Anna's going to give us a little bit of guidance. You all know during this coronavirus time, the children cannot go to school. And I think Anne, I'm going to write a letter to the governor of Iowa to tell her that teachers must get at least 3 times their salaries. And I think you as parents will agree with that. I think we cannot live without teachers, and I think teachers is one of the most important educators in this world. So Anne, welcome.
Thank you.
And she's going to help us a little bit how to teach our kids at home, or even incorporate that at school as well. So Anne, since parents and grandparents knows their kids much better than anyone else, what is the things that we can teach them during this time?
So we really want to look to building a foundation for learning and helping support the development of executive functioning skills. And while there are several individual skills, they come in 3 categories. Working memory, which is the ability to hold information in our head and then use it later. Inhibitory control, which helps, again, keep our thoughts and our impulses, resist temptations, distractions, and then we can pause and think before we act. And finally, cognitive flexibility. So are we able to switch gears and adjust to changing demands, priorities, and perspectives? And while we're not born with all of these skills developed, we are born with the potential to learn these skills. And that starts early as an infant, and then it goes on through early adulthood.
So for us as parents, can you just give us a few examples of that?
Sure. So for families thinking about their individual children, if you have a baby between 6 and 18 months, you might be thinking about playing peekaboo or hiding things under a blanket. At 18 to 36 months, we can start introducing song games such as head, shoulders, knees, and toes, or doing some matching and sorting games. For 3 to 5-year-olds, we really want to encourage that high level of imaginary play. So we're going to read books, we're going to go on field trips, we're going to provide some props and toys for children to use in that imaginary play. From 5 to 7 years old, you'll want to think about some card or board games such as concentration or checkers, games that require attention such as Simon Says. For older children or students, you want to think about 7 to 12 years old doing card games or board games that are a little bit more challenging, maybe such as chess, or learning how to play a musical instrument. For adolescents, we want to think about goal setting, planning, prioritizing. Some activities that they could engage in would be some sports, music, some theater, and then study skills. How do we prioritize work? How do we keep a calendar and some deadlines? How do we teach some self-monitoring? And then how do we provide some time for reflection in their learning?
Thank you. Well, and that brings us to our next question. Are there any other things, both at home and at school, that families and school staff can teach and model for our kids?
Yes, I would say structure and routines really help a child feel safe and know what to expect, and it also provides parents with some confidence on how to respond. And so some key adult behaviors would be consistency, predictability, and follow through. And what that looks like in your family is consistency is doing the same thing every time. If you're praising your child every time they share a toy with their friend, then they will understand that that's a behavior that you expect and want to see. Predictability means that they know what's going to happen every time this situation takes place. And so when we say follow each certain steps at bedtime, after taking a bath, brushing our teeth, that's predictability, it's a routine. And then follow through. So mean what you say in response to what you have said.
Which is very important.
Yes, so if it's a punishment, then never promise anything that you can't carry through. And if it's a reward, then obviously you might want to make it something that, you can follow through with.
Yeah. Good. And when families and schools work together, what are some effective strategies that they can use?
So the Iowa Department of Education has identified some indicators that would support engagement for learning. And really they are saying that teachers and families can have high expectations for each individual child. And so once teachers and parents have those high expectations, they need to communicate those with that individual child to say, here's what we expect of you. And then really look at multiple approaches for that child to be able to follow through and to be able to meet those expectations, as well as develop some positive communication between the home and the school. We want to keep things on a positive note so that we can collaborate around many things that are happening within the education. Active involvement, so engage in that collaborative problem solving. If there's an issue that's going on at school, then what can parents help provide so we can come to a solution? And support that learner. How do we intentionally create a safe space for students to study at home? How do we actively support and promote the maximum that they can get out of their education? And then what can we do to help support their engagement in learning what we expect them to learn?
Thank you, Anne. Now, your last question that I'm going to ask you. Just give us, as parents, and I think all of us need this, practical ideas how we can incorporate all of this at home and even at school during this time. You know, and I know days is getting really long at home with the kids. What is the practical things that we can do?
So Dr. Steve Constantino is recognized as a national expert in family engagement, and he has what he considers the 5 C's for families to engage. So to clarify goals and expectations. So again, setting high standards and goals for your child, and then being firm in those expectations and goals. Again, communicate with your child. Be sure they are aware of those expectations and have some daily interaction with your child around their learning. Change your conversation. You know, many times I think when children come home from school, they'll say, a parent will say, what'd you do today? Or what'd you learn today? And so he's suggesting that we change our conversation to say, tell me about your project or your report. Explain your assignment or what you did in class today. Show me. So again, getting something out tangible and having the child show you. Teach me that lesson. Teach me what you interacted with today, and make that child the teacher. And then giving them permission to say, leave your homework or leave your project out on the kitchen table so that I can look at it. Collaborate with the school. So again, building that good positive relationship between your child's teachers. Again, celebrating your child. So he talks about make pride for the household, and pride would be personal responsibility for daily effort. And how hard is your child trying? And we know that effort comes in different ways. Things that take a lot of effort, if we haven't mastered that skill, takes a lot of effort, or if we're asked to do something that we don't like, takes a lot of effort. So holding your child responsible for that. And then again, demonstrate the value that you put on education, and by having open communication with your child and building a good relationship with school, you're demonstrating those values to your child.
And thank you. Sure everybody that listened to this and myself, this is a valuable lesson that we can take home. And I want to ask all the parents, rather build a relationship over this time. Pray that the Lord will give you some patience. I think that's very important. And thank you for stopping at the Zion Studios today. We really appreciate your time and your effort, and regards to your family as well.
Thank you.
Take care. Members of Zion Reformed Church and friends of our congregation, I want to share a quick thought on the relationship between you and your children. And for that, I'm going to start reading from the letter to the Ephesians chapter 6. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you, and that you may enjoy a long life on the earth. And then there's a message to the parents as well. Fathers, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in training and instruction of the Lord. Did you ever hear the words, "You are just like your father. You will never change." Or, "You are just like your mother. You will never change." I wonder what that means. Think about it. Do we refer to personality, or do we refer to adaptive behaviors, which can be positive or negative? And for this, I want to quickly share the differences between personality types and adaptive behavior. According to Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, there are 16 different personality types. Now, what is a personality? Remember in Genesis when God created mankind? And after that he said, "Oh, and this is good." God created you. He gave you your personality. So can a personality change? I don't think so. And this is my opinion. So what's the difference between a personality and an adaptive behavior? A behavior can be good or it can be bad. A behavior is what we become in life. And listen to this. If I say, "This is who I am, take it or leave it," we have to remember, then we're talking and referring to the adaptive behavior, which can be negative. So for instance, just to use an example, I struggle with my temper. So if I struggle with my temper, is that a personality type or an adaptive behavior which is negative? It's a negative adaptive behavior. So you can never say, "This is who I am, take it or leave it. I will not change." Because God gives you the opportunity every day, and He gives you the power every day to change, to become a better person. So parents and children, I have a message for you today. At a time like this, it is important to work on relationships. Life is short. Let us don't go and say, "This is who I am, take it or leave it." Let us rather ask, how can I change to become a better parent? How can I change to become a better child? Remember, personalities cannot change, but adaptive behaviors can change. I pray that God will give you the opportunity to be the best parent and to be the best child. God created you and He said, that is good. That's your personality. Let us stop with the negative, adaptive behaviors. Let us respect each other, and let us take care of each other. Parents, your child is one of the biggest gifts in life. Take care of it. Take care of them. Children, take care of your parents. They are very, very special. God gave them to you as well. May you all be blessed and take care.